a very special moment, practically on the eve of a strike authorized by the Oakland Education Association. 95% of their members. Oakland teachers are going out on strike on Thursday. Give them a hand. Now, unfortunately, this is in sort of distinct contrast to what's been happening with the American working class, with the labor movement for the past few decades. At this moment in the United States, the top 1% of Americans own around 40% of all the wealth in our country. Union membership has fallen precipitously to around 10%, and around 6% in the private sector, so that most Americans have no protection whatsoever at work and are completely exposed to the whims of their bosses. Meanwhile, Janus versus AFSCME has arrived to bring right to work nationally to the public sector and made it's an existential threat to the labor movement right now. Fuck Kavanaugh, yes. Yeah. In response to this situation, there's been a lot of sometimes well-intentioned efforts to revive the labor movement from above. Some unions have paid consultants a lot of money to tell them that Americans are just culturally allergic to collective solutions.
Bullshit.
Bullshit, yes. So they should talk about unions as if they're consumer products like insurance plans or something, because everyone loves their insurance plans. Others have invested in trying to sort of broker their way to more influence by endorsing just about any Democratic politician, even if they don't really do anything for labor.
Any old blue just won't do.
Thank you. And others have been slightly more proactive, and they've invested millions of dollars in new organizing departments to organize workers into unions for the first time. This has been sort of the most positive effort, but some of these unions, at the same time as doing that, really neglect their own members and suppress rank-and-file militancy and agency from below, accept concession after concession, so that until you reach the point where the contract is not really a great advertisement for union membership anymore. And so what these speakers show today, and what this amazing strike wave happening across the country, led by the rank-and-file, shows, is that if you want to revive labor, you can't just leap over the members. They remind us that labor's greatest resource has always been workers who are conscious of their own power, who understand that they are the ones who run things, and that if they don't get what they want, what do? Shut it down. They shut it down. And they see that that's really where the potential for true social movement unionism lies. That activated and empowered members are the best tribunes to go into their communities, to go into their churches, into their families, and be a tribune for the labor movement, right? To reach across lines and bring more and more people into their struggle. And that's why we're so lucky right now to have all of these high school students from Oakland, understand that their fates are linked. And what they're showing us is that labor is not just for old white men. It's not a special interest or a lobby. Labor is for youth, labor is for the oppressed, and labor is for humanity. So right now, I'm actually going to hand it off to one of these amazing high school students, Kimberly Wong, who has some remarks. Okay. Hello everyone, thank you for coming out. How do you guys feel? Okay, thank you for coming out on this beautiful Sunday morning. My name is Kimberly Wong and I am currently a senior at Oakland High. Hey, go Wildcats! I want my teachers to get what they deserve. I've been involved with the movement ever since the first stick out. When all of us students bravely marched up into the mayor's office, I felt a sense of pride. I was so stunned to see so many familiar faces around me who wouldn't normally attend events like this. Teachers unite us and make us students step out of our comfort zones because we want them to stay. So many student voices were heard that day, some that I've never heard before. But they have the guts to open up and speak up for our teachers because this issue is important to us all. To continue this push for our students and have student voices be more common, I was given the idea to start the Instagram page, Oak Students Rising. In order to keep those who missed the events in the loop. Also to show student perspective and about how we feel about things. Shout out to my partner in crime, Jason Chu, I love you, who helped me run the Instagram page. We wanted it to be a place for students where they could voice their opinions freely and to get more students engaged with the movement. From the 2 stickouts and student walkout, we posted videos and photos to get students and supporters more hyped up and more woke of the movement. We must ensure the student stick-out are effective by targeting all OUSD schools. We must make sure our media coverage is high, because if no one knows about it, it won't work. I think we can all be a little bit more active in spreading the word. One screenshot of an event and posting it on your IG story or Snapchat can make a world of a difference of how many people actually attend. We must be more involved by attending school board meetings. Bring your friends and make it a fun time to hang out while we represent youth voices. Even though we're all busy, a sprinkle of our time here and there can really add up. Strikes are our last option. It's becoming necessary. We must plan an organized student stick-out to show the district we are not afraid of them, that we won't be pushed around, that we won't settle for less. We're going to stand together, united with our teachers, until they get what they deserve. Student voices and actions create a larger impact on the district. So let's stand together. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much, Kimberly. Okay, so after this, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be addressing different questions to different people on this panel. But before I'm going to hand the mic around, well, or can we get one of those portable ones? And have everybody introduce themselves since we have such an incredible lineup here.
Hello. Hi, hello everyone. So my name is Mariah. I'm a 10th grader at Skyline. That's about it.
Woo!
Hello everyone. My name is Jokasha. I'm a freshman at Skyline.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a junior at Oakland High School. Go Wildcats! Hi, my name is Donna. I'm a junior at Oakland High School.
Hello, my name is Jason Chu and I'm senior at Oakland High School as well.
Hi, my name is Kimberly. I'm a senior at Oakland High.
I'm Alessandra Chavira. I'm a
junior at Denver East High School.
Woo!
I'm a high school student. My name is Ashley, she, her, East Bay DSA. So I'm a SEIU 1021 member and co-chair in East Bay Labor Committee.
Hi, my name is Tim Marshall. I'm a teacher at Melrose Leadership Academy in Oakland. I've been a proud OEA union leader for 22 years.
And I'm an art teacher at Oakland Heights Elementary School here in Oakland, and I'm a proud member of East Bay GSA.
Thank you, everyone. So my first question is to Ashley and Tim. We want to know how you became involved in the labor movement, how you became involved in your union, and how your union struggles have evolved over time.
All right, I'll go first as a senior member of this panel. I'm going to take you back to a time before a strike wave, which was the 1980s when labor went into decline. The unions started to become complacent. They thought they could just rely on Democrats. They did not take up the goals and aspirations of the working class as a whole. They did not advocate for Central American peoples and the refugees who were coming from the wars created by the United States down in Central America. When I became radicalized around those movements and anti-imperialist struggles, and I went to Nicaragua a couple times in the 80s. And I worked in Central America Solidarity, and I didn't know much about the union movement, partially because it was so dead, and partially because I wasn't working in it, but I was impressed by the spirit of those very same Central American refugees who started something called Justice for Janitors in Los Angeles in 1990. And I was part of that struggle. I was there when they won. I was there when the police beat them. I was there when they won again. And so I realized the power of an organized union movement, and those people had brought the spirit of the Central American revolutions into the labor movement in Los Angeles, and that was something very powerful for me. So that's how I got involved, and then I became a socialist, and then I realized, unfortunately, I had to get a job in the real world, and I looked around, and I took advice of people in the socialist group that I was at to look for a union job. And I went to UPS, and the shifts were from 3 to 7 in the morning, and I looked again for a teacher job, which I decided I could do. I enjoy working with kids. I had worked at summer camps. I had worked as an assistant teacher and a substitute, and I thought this is the job for me, where we can bring socialist politics into the labor movement and advocate for the people who are the victims, whether here or there, of capitalism. So, it's been a long struggle. I said 22 years, and at first, a lot of the fights that we fought in OEA and in the statewide union movement were to prevent the most egregious racist policies like anti-bilingualism in the schools, which was called Proposition 187. We fought against that. We lost, but at the same time, we built connections with the people who needed that kind of education. I work as a bilingual educator to this day, and I am proud to say that those connections still bear fruit. I still work with and I still teach some of the students and the same families that we fought with. And when we fought for that, we began to change the labor movement step by step in Oakland by building connections with the oppressed communities, with the people who were at the schools that had been forgotten, and we showed them that the union was not just about a 3% or 4% pay raise for us, but it was about public education. It was about the right kind of public education, and also building the kind of quality schools that all Oakland students deserve. So those links, we built them. We struck my school in East Oakland struck 100% on May 1st, 2006, I think, when there was a giant immigrants' rights march here in Oakland and across the state. And we tried to bring some of that social movement unionism into OEA. It's been a back and forth struggle. We are now forth. We are now going forward. we have brought into, not just me, but a whole group of people of my generation, and especially a lot of younger teachers, are bringing in that kind of vision, the kind of vision that says that we are going to fight, and we are going to stand together with our students until they get what they deserve. That includes, for those of you who are not from around here, our key demands in the OEA are for student supports. I will give an example. Newcomers, same refugees from climate change and refugees from U.S. state-supported terror in Guatemala, Honduras, and beyond, come into my classroom and they do not have the supports that they need. Oakland Unified School District places them in my classroom, sink or swim, see what happens. That's unconscionable to me, and we're fighting for more student supports, especially for newcomer students. We're fighting for smaller class sizes, which I think anybody who's been through Oakland Unified School District knows is a key area, a key fight that benefits teachers as well as students, because teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions. And we're fighting, of course, for a pay raise for ourselves to keep qualified teachers in Oakland, to keep the good teachers that you know and you care about in Oakland. And Oakland is a very expensive city, obviously, to live in. We're asking for a super modest raise of 12% over 3 years, which barely goes above the cost of living, but we'll take it as long as we get the other demands that go with it, and we're adding in more school closures, because what's happened in the last couple months is it has been clear here, as it has become clear in Los Angeles and Denver and all around the country, is that there's a group of people organized who are out to destroy public education. For shorthand, we call them billionaires. More technical terms, the capitalist class. But I want to tell you that if we don't stop their school closures now, they will continue to close, and they will close schools until they end up like New Orleans, where there are no public schools left. We have to draw the line. That's what we're doing. We so much appreciate the support of the students that are up here. It's a really happy day for me to be sitting up here with students who've been through our schools, who are articulate and conscious and ready to fight.
Hello, I'm Ashley. I am a chief shop steward in Contra Costa County. I represent about 800, 900 members, and we do human services work, like public assistance, and so food stamps, Medicaid, general assistance, all of that kind of work. And also, we represent social workers who do child protective services and adult protective services. We have 250,000 Medicaid cases, 75,000 food stamp cases, so that's a lot of people that need a lot of help. And so I got involved in the labor movement after working at nonprofits and realizing that they're very dependent on capital, that it's kind of at the whim of philanthropists, that it's not really, government's really the one that has the scale to make sure that everybody gets their services that they need, and that's NGOs and the nonprofit industrial complex really isn't the solution for that. Also, they exploit workers because they're exploiting your good intentions. You know, they work you over 40 hours a week, they pay you no money. When I got laid off from Harlem Children's Zone, I was very bitter. And that really radicalized me, and I came back looking for a union job for job security, rights on the job, so that, you know, I had more say in the working conditions. So organizing from a union as a chief shop steward, there's so many struggles. There's a lot of conditions that people are very unhappy about. So one of them is the understaffing. So we have 3 to 4 hour wait times for people to get assistance with their Medicaid cases. You're talking about people who are in nursing homes on long-term care who can't get through to talk to a worker because there's too few of us to answer the calls. It's horrible. People are sometimes die waiting for their applications to be processed. It's a very, very serious situation, and our county is very conservative. We're just right next door, like, you know, Richmond out to Antioch and Discovery Bay. Most of our board of supervisors are Republicans. We have people running for state assembly and state senate opposing the BART strike. So these are the political conditions that we're up against. And so they really rely on like austerity politics, fiscal conservatism, because they still act like we're in the 2008 recession. So even in the 3 years that I've been organizing with the union, and I'll go into more of that, we have lost 300 positions in our bargaining units. We had 10, 50, 1,100 people, now we're down to 800 members. Those are people in our bargaining unit. You know, we're the ones that actually bring down the federal money for administering the services. Everybody else in the county depends on our jobs. IT, custodial, staff development, analysts, they wouldn't have jobs if we weren't there issuing those benefits. So our union's actually very critical in Contra Costa, and I try to impress that upon workers all the time because they need to know that we have to stay in the coalition. So 2016, we went on strike for 10 days. It was the longest strike that 1021 had had since the big merger, actually around 2008 as well. That strike, a lot of people felt like we didn't win anything because we went out by ourselves. We used to be in a coalition with 8 other unions in the county, and that has now gotten actually back together. So this past fall, we actually bargained with the 9 other coalitions, and we've been actually much more successful. So that's something that has definitely changed over time, and we're working on some actions to deal with the chronic understaffing because people are harassed, bullied, turnover is really high. I can't even tell you like how many friends have left and gone to other places, and City and County of San Francisco is like half Contra Costa workers. Let's see, what else should I say? There's a lot of things, micromanagement. They want us to put up signs at our desk when we go to the bathroom. They really want to like manage every minute of where we are. So I'm just really glad to be here with you all because you guys are the future, and you guys should work in this job because you can do it actually in all 50 states. Thought about working in Guam. So definitely look into this because social workers and nurses are actually some of the people who are most successful on strikes. And that I think is a really huge piece of why we've been successful in the last 3 years.
Thank you so much. It's really a testament to hear from you guys about how public sector workers can really bargain and organize and strike for the common good of everybody, right? So my next question is for the students, and any of you can answer this, which is what is important to high school students right now? What do you guys need, and how are you fighting for it?
Okay, I can go. So what we need is people who care. I feel like these teacher strikes and like the district officials that are supposed to represent their constituents and like their students aren't doing that. They care about making money and looking good to the public, so they don't care if people in like low poverty schools or like students who are like SPED and special needs are learning, as long as they're making their money and as long as they look good to the public. And that's a huge problem with Denver. And what we need is public funding because it just perpetuates the cycle that public schools, students of color, and special needs students are undervalued and underfunded. And that leads to us not being if we're supposed to be your future and you're supposed to invest in your future, like your country's kind of screwed. And it's like you're not investing in your students and you don't care about your students. What does that say about the state of our nation? And it's like we need support, we need help, and our teachers are exactly that. And if you're not gonna pay attention to the people who are serving your future, then what are you going to pay attention to? And that's why these strikes are so vital and so important. It's like you have to stand up to the corporate BS that these district officials are doing. At the end of the day, we need public schools, we need our education, and we need to be listened to. So that's the thesis.